Brand new song I just wrote.
What up, though? What up, though?
What's up, everybody?
It is I am my man Nick. Lamar had to take him a hiatus. He's on holiday. So it's just me and Nick today.
He's still passed out after the Chiefs win yesterday. Let's be real.
Right.
Let's not lie to the viewers.
They coming rare this year, so you know. What else, Sincere? What up, Lamar? Lamar up in here. We don't get to that, Sincere. Hold on, we don't get to that.
Sincere knows right where we're going.
Let's get all the preliminaries out of the way. You know, you can go to our website, www.I.O.W19.com. That way you get all our information, you know, about all our shows, I.O.W, Lamar's late night owl show, which we gotta promote more, you know. Lamar getting up there late at night. Out there get you night owls, people. I'll be in the bed rolling over.
I can go to bed early this week with him on the road.
Right.
I've been on there a lot with him lately. I've been staying up late, man. I get to bed before midnight now.
And most important, download our app. Go to your app store. You know, if you're an Apple user, you go to the Apple store. If you are an Android user, go to the Google store and download the I.O.W app. Where we got all the latest music you like to hear. If you like funk, we got funk. If you like jazz, we got jazz. If you like hip hop, we got plenty of hip hop. You name it, we got it. And then we have Ars Paradoxica. We have White Vault. We have some of everything. So something that you would like, if you like punk, we got punk music. We got everything. And then on Sundays, if you want to cleanse your soul, we even have the gospel music on there on Sundays. So now that we got all the preliminaries out of the way.
Wait. Can I add my favorite?
Go ahead.
If you feel a little charitable, you can drop some coin in that.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the money thing.
I pay attention, bro.
Appreciate you. You know, I'm used to Lamar doing this. I got to get my own notes. You know, yeah. So if you put a little charitable.
I didn't put as much swag into it as he does, but that was my first time.
Right. Drop that money. Well, let's get into it. I see Lamar and brought it up, and Sincere and brought it up. So let's get to the hot take out there. Malice of the Palace Part 2. LeBron and Stewart. So what's your take on that, Nick? What you think?
That's a bitch move, man. That's a really, there's no other ifs, ends, or ways about it, man. He made I'm going to do this shit too. He made the clench your face. I don't think he hit him with the elbow.
Look at him with this part.
I saw a punch. That's a punch. And then I have not seen anybody move backwards like that since Michael Jackson died. This motherfucker got out of there so quick. And if you watch the video, you know the announcer in Detroit has been trained since the Malice. Do not get out of your seats. Do not throw anything. Do not come near the court. You will be banned and prosecuted. Like he's reading the list that they printed up that day.
I think is that Jordan Baja?
Do not throw anything. Stay in your seats.
Right. He was like, hey.
They're like, oh shit, here we go again.
So seriously, it wasn't a punch.
I don't know, man. He hit him with this part.
I watched it. I watched it a couple of times. Right. From all the angles I seen, it did look like it was like either like the top of the forearm or the fist. It didn't look like an elbow when I seen it.
The elbow may have caught the eye.
Right.
With like a glancing blow because his arm didn't stop with the elbow.
Yeah, he followed all the way through. Right.
And there was a video off Instagram that played in slow motion. When you see the back part, I can't invert my hand. Right, when you see the back part of the hand hit the mouth, you see his lip and his cheek, the afterquake of it hitting. So that and he looked like he was out on his feet for a second before like he kind of came to and realized what just happened. Right. That's a superstars can't be doing shit like that, man. That's a bad look. That's why you have Ben Wallace's, Dennis Rodman's, Ron Artest. You got your guys that do shit like that. If someone's going after your superstar, you don't act out like that.
Sincere said, Jay-Z said, if you shoot me, you famous. If I shoot you, I'm you brainless. That applies to LeBron. Yeah, you're right.
Look at Sincere starting off.
So here's a couple things I want. Right. Here's a couple things I want to bring up. One, do you think LeBron, if it was done on purpose, could, we going to speculate, but if it was done on purpose, do you think it was done out of frustrating? Because this would have been a third consecutive loss if they'd lost.
They were down by 12 when it happened.
They're down by 12 when it happened, right?
Yeah.
So it looked like they're going to
Detroit.
Right.
The frustration with LeBron is pointing at the man in the mirror because you handpicked this failure. I think I said it on the Late Light show with Lamar last week. This team would be elite if you kept Caruso, Kuzma, Ball, Randall, and Ingram.
Right.
You would be easy street right now. You wouldn't have to dominate. But the flip side of that Lamar and I brought up, where maybe those guys wouldn't have developed if they were still being held down in a LeBron team. That's a good point. You handpicked these guys. You got rid of all the youth. You got rid of all the energy. You got rid of all the promise. You should be fucking frustrated because it's on you.
Right.
You wanted Davis. You wanted Carmelo. You wanted Russell Westbrook. You wanted your senior citizens reunion tour. Fuck that. You should be frustrated. You better get suspended. Because if anybody else did that, if that happened to Curry, to LeBron, to Durant,
right,
you're damn right there's a suspension coming down. If a no-name player or a role player or not thug's not the right word, but one of those grunts, those screen-setting rebounder, like
the one you put in to do the fouls.
Yeah, your muscle guy, right?
Yeah,
like you're Charles Oakley, you're Anthony Mason, like your bruiser, your grunt player.
Right.
You're fucking right. They're getting suspended. So if the league wants any credibility, you gotta come down with something. And a fine, in my opinion, is not good enough.
So okay, now you said that. Do you think goon is the word you're looking for? Thanks, Sincere. Well, let me speak to LeBron. I mean, not LeBron. Lamar says, I doubt LeBron gets suspended. Stewart better hope he has his job. And that's kind of along the lines of what you were saying.
If anything, I think the league grew respect for Stewart because a lot of people don't go after LeBron, right? But you saw what happens. Even his own players are like holding him back.
Here's the thing. Now, I was going to get on to that part, his reaction. Do you think his reaction was justified?
Yes. You get elbowed and punched in the mouth. You get elbowed in the eye and punched in the mouth. You're a complete bitch if you don't try to do something.
That's a good point.
And when you see the blood, some people's, ironically, the expression, you see red, right?
Right.
You see red. You pop me in my mouth, I'm going after you.
Now, one of the things,
my eye open,
right.
Sporting him like that,
right. And you out there and your adrenaline's going, and you in the heat of the moment. I can see it happening. My thing was too. Somebody brought up the point. I can't remember who it was. Is that it looks like Stewart, as it happened, he got to ask LeBron, "Hey, was that on purpose? What's going on?" And he didn't like to respond. That's when he flipped. That's what some of the people were saying, and I can see that because like you out there, you going for a rebound. Cats get elbowed a lot, and then you look at this is LeBron, and you look at this is LeBron.
Rebound, and I'm bringing my arms down and I
Mm-hmm.
catch you, that's just part of the game.
Yeah, I got caught one time like that playing basketball.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have braces, my teeth would have been gone. Because you can see my teeth had came down and my braces kind of held them in place and actually just moved them back up. But he came down, just getting a rebound, came down with his elbow and caught me right there. So it happens.
That happens. That happens. That's part of the game. That's like getting hit with a pitch, right? Like a curveball goes and hits you in the knee. That's part of the game.
It's part of the game.
This, when the video broke it down and showed him, like I said, grind his teeth, grunt, and force.
See, I didn't see that one.
That's 100% intentional.
So yeah, if I think if I seen that, I might would have been convinced that he might have done it on purpose. Like from the video angles I seen, it was kind of far away. The ones I seen. So I said the only thing I could see is like it seemed like he did hit him with either, like I said, the top of the forearm,
either the wrist or the outside of the fist.
Right. That's what it kind of looked like to me. At least caught him, nicked him, and maybe the elbow hit him in the eyebrow. You know, that was not. I mean, LeBron not a little guy. So that kind of force that's gonna cut you.
Yeah,
you know,
that's not Trae Young doing that. That's a 6'8", 270-pound,
that's a tight end hitting you.
Monster.
That's a tight end hitting you. You know what I'm saying?
The camera angle, I'll send it to you after the show.
Okay.
The camera angle that has it is, you know, the cameraman next to like the support for the basket who gets like the dunks under the rim.
Right.
It's his angle right at LeBron, and it's the view of his face. Like you see it dead on.
Wow. And so, hey man. Stewart
one more thing I want to bring up with that.
Go ahead.
All of the camera angles, all of the views. What's the rule in the NBA? You leave the bench, you're suspended.
Right.
During all of this, the third time Stewart tried to break free, LeBron is standing right where like the circle is under the basket.
Right.
So you know the charge circle.
Right. And
He's still on the court. Carmelo Anthony with the towel over his head is out there standing in front of LeBron. Carmelo was on the bench. Carmelo should get suspended too, because technically he left the bench during an altercation.
Right.
So he didn't do anything, but the rule is the rule. They don't want you off the bench at all, whether it's protecting. I'm sure they'd rather Carmelo take a shot to the head than LeBron.
Right.
But Carmelo, you should see something from him too, and it's legitimate if it does happen.
Right. I mean, according to the rule, yeah.
I mean, he didn't touch anybody, but they don't care. That's why the rule was put in place. And now it's the Knicks show all by myself. All right, you're back. I was like, oh man, where do I go from here? your video cut out for a second. Oh, it really is the Knicks show. So the next topic we were going to talk about is the Baseball Hall of Fame. Baseball Hall of Fame, David Ortiz, Alex Rodriguez were announced today on the ballot. Two guys who were both associated with Balco. Two players who on the field are deserving of the Hall of Fame. When you talk about the Hall of Fame, one thing that's always gets brought up, can you tell the story of baseball without them? And Alex Rodriguez blew up on the scene immediately. Within a couple seasons, people were calling him an all-time great. Okay, Sincere, thank you. I don't know what happened to Mel, so Sincere, I can see your comments, so keep them coming, bro. We got to do the show together right now, me and you. When you look at these players, they're all-time greats. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Curt Schilling are all on their last chance of getting in. You can't tell the story of baseball without those players. Barry Bonds was a player of the decade before his head doubled in size and he bulked up like the Incredible Hulk. Roger Clemens in the 80s and into the 90s and even into the 2000s was one of the best pitchers in baseball. We take the attitude and the anger management and the bat throw at Piazza, we throw that out the window. We don't need to worry about that stuff. But Curt Schilling, the dominant performance against my Yankees, the blood on the sock with the Red Sox, the pitching for the Diamondbacks was an all-time epic performance. He's one of the best players in postseason history. And I say that because he beat my Yankees. But you know what? You tip your hat. You say congratulations to the people that beat you. And then when you look back in perspective almost 20 years later, he deserved it. He deserves the Hall of Fame. Schilling deserves it. Bonds certainly deserves it. Clemens deserves it. My issue with Hall of Fame votes in general is, and Lamar says, if they put A-Rod in, then Bonds, Clemens, and Rose. Rose is another one. Rose never bet against his team to lose. He always bet on his team to win. And now in a generation where you look around and you watch the Yes Network for the Yankee games like I do, DraftKings, FanDuel, all of these betting places, the leagues are now making money off of them. How do you keep a guy out for betting on his team when now you're gladly accepting those funds in stadiums, on broadcasts, in as an organization, as a league in general? It doesn't make any sense to me that Rose is still out. What are we going to say here? Lamar had that comment. And then with A-Rod and Ortiz had one of the greatest postseason performances ever. Being a part of that team, Ken says Barry Bonds was definitely great. You're right about all those guys. What makes you Hall of Fame worthy? Numbers or championship? Baseball's always been a numbers-driven sport. Baseball has always been about the aura of numbers, statistical seasons. But when you get into adding championships to it, you're Curt Schilling and you're part of Boston and the incredible run that they did. You're David Ortiz. I don't know how you keep those guys out of the Hall of Fame. And anyone who knows me knows I am the biggest Yankee fan and Boston hater. I hate the Patriots. I hate the Celtics. I hate the Red Sox. I hate everything about that region. I won't even go on vacation there because I don't want to hear these fucking people's accents. That's how much I dislike them. But sports-wise, I'm not a fucking idiot. I know Tom Brady's going into the Hall of Fame. I know that Ortiz and Schilling deserve it. You look at these guys, and my issue with the Hall of Fame in general is the voters. The voters, to me, are, and we talked about, we made fun of Tim Kirchkin a couple weeks ago, a little pencil neck geek. He's 5'7". He's got to sit on a phone book to do the ESPN broadcasts because he's so tiny. You got all of these writers who love the game, and God bless them for loving the game. But
right.
Welcome back, buddy. I'm talking about after you dropped out, I got into the Baseball Hall of Fame a little bit.
Yeah, I can hear you. Hold on,
okay.
I gotta fix it.
Okay. I'll continue with my point and then let you hop in. When you look at the baseball writers, a lot of these guys loved the game but couldn't play the game. So they were guys, in my opinion, who were little league players who couldn't hit the ball out of the infield on the fly, but have a true passion for the game. And now they watched the greatest players get even greater, and it's just pure jealousy and hatred that they're going, that their MO is. You look at his name's escaping me right now, but there's been many guys who statistically are all-time greats, and you can't not. I mean, McGuire's up there, Sosa's up there. Major League Baseball did not have rules against anything that these players did. That's on baseball. They didn't break any rules. Anybody who on the Balco list was supposed to be kept confidential, but it got leaked out to the media. And you're looking at players who got penalized for never breaking rules of the league. And it's a shame on baseball because after the strike in 1994, baseball was dead. Coincidentally, when did the boom? I mean, football's always been big, but football became America's pastime in the mid-90s when baseball was down. And then baseball rode the wave of the 1998 New York Yankees and Sosa and McGuire home run chase. For you young viewers, in 1998, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have everything in our phones all the time. So every night you would be tuning on TV. You would be, if you were out, you stopped at a payphone and you called somebody watching. Hey, did McGuire hit one? Did Sosa hit one? Well, what's the chase? What's the number at now? baseball rode the home run tidal wave. And as soon as McGwire and Sosa started to dip, baseball wanted to cut ties with them and say, you're not with us anymore. We're not with you, I should say. So it's a shame what baseball did, because baseball turned a blind eye to it, made a shit ton of money, and then they kicked players to the curb. And now the media is at a point where the media won't vote for them. And I hate the media voting for Hall of Fames in any sport. I'm a firm believer that existing living members of the Hall of Fame should have the largest say in who joins them. You know, Joe Namath and all the other living guys should have a vote on who joins them. And you should break it down. The media has a percentage, but the players who played the game, the ambassadors of the game, the people who built the sport and love it and put their bodies on the line for it, are the ones who should have the final say. Mel, I hope you come back soon. I don't know where we're going from here. Anybody else got any comments, any question? We'll do a little question part of the show. If anybody's got any input you guys want to add, or a topic that you want me to discuss, let me know while Mel is working out the technical difficulties on his end. I know we also had college football this weekend. Georgia had a easy cupcake game in their schedule. A little tune-up for the SEC championship. Alabama had a tight game. They pulled away towards the end. And now we got Alabama and Georgia on December 4th in the SEC championship.
Testing 1 2. Can you hear me?
I got you, brother. Welcome back.
All right, cool.
Welcome back, man. Lamar goes away. You have the technical difficulties.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
I always say I'm like the Artie Lang to the Howard Stern show. You guys run the show, and then I chime in off of what you lead. Me just sitting here talking to myself.
I don't know what was going on. Both my cameras wouldn't work. I tried to switch the other camera. That went out. But anyway.
It's because you got the Detroit Lion hat on, man. Shit ain't working once you put that hat on. Who do you think is the best upcoming team? Which team will be the... I think the Suns would be the newest team to win a championship since Ken, but I really like what the Bulls and the Hornets are building right now.
I like the Bulls and the Hornets. Those are good picks. The Suns still have to prove it to me. You know,
yeah.
After last year and everything, I'm kind of like, I mean, you know, you don't want to go like saying not to get on Chris Paul. You know, can he win the big one and all that? But it's looking that way, man. I mean, it's not one man that loses the game, and I'm going to lose the series and lose the game. We know that. But it just seems to me every time he gets on a team, you know what I'm saying, you don't seem to be able to win a big one. So
yeah, you look at the Bucks though last year, and it just looked like it was their lucky year. You know, they got the Nets without Irving, and Harden was hurt. Right. You know, it just sometimes you look at a team and say things are going their way. This just might be their year.
Right.
You look at the Chiefs in football. Looks like they're not playing the greatest, but shit is going their way. Right. Titans losing games they shouldn't. Bills losing games that nobody thinks they would.
Right.
Memphis, Dallas will get one in the next 5 years. Yeah, I'm not seeing too much of the teams, Ken, in the West as of yet. Just some highlights. I haven't watched any of their games. I've seen a lot of the teams. I'm in New Jersey on the East Coast, so I get the Nets all the time. But I do like Dallas. I love Luka. I think Luka is just a different player. One of the comparisons I made, I don't know if I did it on this show or just on Facebook commentary. It was Luka to me is Larry Bird with more of like a Steph mixed in with him. Okay. Like it's Steph and Larry Bird, because you got some decent size. You put a big guy on him, he can go around him and get to the hole and get to the free throw line. You put a small guy on him, he could step back and shoot over him. So I think like a Larry Bird, Steph Curry mix is a good comparison for Luka, because he's unique, man. I really enjoy watching his game.
Oh, why you say he won't win one in Dallas, Sincere?
You think Mark Cuban's going to let him go? You think Dallas won't win, or you think he won't win with Luka in Dallas?
Right.
That's a take I got to hear more about. He just said Dallas and Memphis will win one in 5 years, but then says Luka won't win one in Dallas. And John Morant in Memphis is fucking electric.
Oh my God.
He's electric.
He reminds me of Pierce and Dirk. Okay. I can give you that too.
Okay.
I don't have an argument with that.
Though. He's quicker than Pierce. Pierce was more of a like pull-up jumper type. I never saw Pierce as like an elite driver or penetrator. Not that Luka's elite, but he's better than average with getting to the rim because he's physical enough to take that body, get and maintain the hit and still finish.
Right. Let's go to college football.
I know you heard me. Do you have anything you want to add on baseball?
Oh yeah, I forgot all about the baseball.
I was rambling. I had to get through that.
They both slow came to me. I'm trying to get through these comments right quick.
Okay.
Luka won't win one in Dallas. He will do a KG, but when he leaves, he won't be who he is now. So that means he's gonna be there for a while. Then, Sincere, God, it'll be a while for he actually.
Mark Cuban is not letting him leave. Mark Cuban will break the bank and give him $50 million a year to stay there because what Luka does for that franchise financially is worth it.
He put butts in seats. He sells jerseys. Yeah. I mean, he's making money.
I'm sure people tune in. I don't know. Does Dallas?
He probably got more Dallas fans outside of Dallas because of Luka.
Yeah, and it's an international name, so it's a worldwide market. It's not just the Dallas market. That's a huge part of it too. And Cuban knows how to play that because he had Dirk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he knows that you got the international.
What's up, Mel?
Paying attention to there.
Mel agree with you, man.
Can we screenshot that? Mel don't agree with me too often.
Hello, Hale, are you froze?
Dayton's down there like it's fucking winter.
But going back to you saying, I mean, I agree with most of y'all was saying because A-Rod, if you just go on his play alone, you know, even going back when he was with Texas, with the Mariners, he made those teams better. No one was talking about Seattle. No one was really talking about Texas like that until A-Rod got there. You know, because Texas, after Nolan Ryan retired, who's talking about Texas?
True. Seattle had Griffey.
Well, Seattle had Griffey. Yeah, I forgot about Griffey.
Griffey was still young. Griffey came up in 89, I believe. A-Rod, I think, came up in 94, 95. Mm-hmm. But Griffey peaked just as A-Rod came on the scene.
Right.
And they were the two biggest names in baseball buried up in the Northwest. Right.
And then he said, Nick, I agree with you plenty of times. And he said, however, Sincere is right. A ring is not in his future unless he is willing to abandon his ball dominant play style, which I don't see him doing so far with Jason Kidd. But yeah, I agree with you on that one, Mel. So I think A-Rod deserves first ballot Hall of Fame. Ortiz do too, man. You know, Dave Ortiz.
They won't get
I tell everybody, outside the Tigers, the Yankees my second favorite baseball team. You know, and I kind of got on the Yankees because of the Derek Jeter Michigan connection. And so I kind of followed them. You know, I watched them with Reggie Jackson, all them, Darryl Strawberry, you know.
Did you grow up near Kalamazoo?
No, okay. I didn't. But I still, you know, kind of when I heard about A-Rod and the Michigan connection, I kind of really started tuning into the Yankees. So I watched a lot of Yankee baseball. I hated Boston. I hated the Red Sox, man. That ground ball the info Mario Rivera. I'm talking about Mario Rivera was pitching. Remember when they finally won the World Series that year? And they brought in Rivera, I was like, oh, it's over with. And they hit that ground ball. I was like, oh my God. I was so pissed about that. But I think that they deserve to get in.
Ground ball in Boston, I immediately go to Bill Buckner in 1986.
Yeah, right. And then going to Kirk Schilling. I didn't really like Kirk Schilling, but he was a great pitcher, man. I mean, from the Diamondbacks and into Boston. I mean, Diamondbacks had him and a big unit. That was a great team, man.
Yeah,
that was a great team.
Yeah,
yeah. So
they were elite players, man. They're some of the best.
I think that's when baseball is better to me. I mean, I think every era says that, but I think I enjoyed baseball back then better than I do now.
Agreed.
I just loved baseball back then. I mean, I don't dislike it now.
Contact hitters. You didn't have every batter swinging chances. I mean, you would have. I remember being a kid in the 80s, getting the newspaper and opening up the newspaper and reading it before school. And they used to have the batting average, the home run, like the top 15 in that category listed. And you look to see what players did the day before. This is before. I didn't have cable in the 80s. That's how fucking old I am for some of you guys. I didn't have ESPN until like the early 90s.
The Yes Network didn't exist then.
You had to look at the newspaper and you had to read the stats. And there used to be from Wade Boggs, Paul Molitor, all these guys hitting 335 and above.
Right.
Like nowadays, like DJ LeMahieu hit like 330 last year. And I think he won the batting title there's only one or two other guys above like 310. It's turned into just swing for the fences, pull your shoulder out. If you hit 30 in a year, you're going to get a massive contract. You got a player like Manny Machado who hit 275 as a career hitter and got like a $350 million deal. What the fuck is that? Tony Gwynn would be worth $2 billion if he was alive right now.
Man, Tony Gwynn be making big buttloads of money. Then I gotta speak up on one more
comment on the bottom.
Yeah, I saw that one. I'm gonna read that in a minute, but I do have to speak on Pete Rose. I speak about this every year the Hall of Fame come up. I have a problem with any sport that doesn't put someone in a Hall of Fame based on their play. Pete Rose, his play alone deserves Hall of Fame ballot, period. I mean, you can argue Barry Bonds because
nobody
of
played
steroids.
The game harder. Nobody played the game harder than him.
Man, I love watching the Reds play because of Pete Rose and Johnny Bench. Just what it was. And to keep him out of the Hall of Fame, man, is dumb to me. It's just the baseball elites. Yeah. Oh, we are purists. Man, get the hell out of here with that.
You want to include it in the bust, the statue. You want to include it in there. Kept out of the Baseball Hall of Fame for years because he gambled on the sport. Right. That's fine. You can't
make that part of his
legacy. The man's play. If he bet against his team to lose, that's fine.
Right.
Like now you're shanking games. But Pete didn't do that. He played so hard. He would never, ever bet against his team to lose because it's not who he was.
Right.
It was, I believe in us. We're going to play so fucking hard. We're going to fucking win. Like that was his fire and passion. And you saw he was a player manager at the same fucking time because how much he wanted his team to win.
Right.
You can't keep a guy like that out of the Hall of Fame. And they better not fucking wait for him to die and then fucking put him in. He deserves it.
That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen, Nick.
Exactly what's going to
happen. But I like what you said, and I'm going to read sincere comment in a minute. Put him in and make it part of his legacy.
Put an asterisk next to it.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You can say Pete Rose, stats wise, this, and that, and he also ran into trouble with baseball because
on the sport by gambling
because of gambling on the sport. Yeah. And then just leave it like that. And the other people draw their conclusions.
Went to Pete Rose right now and said to Pete Rose, "We're going to put you in, but we're going to include this in your story." Go ahead. It's true. He's never denied it. It's true.
Right. I agree with you, Mel. Now, what do you think about sincere comment says Ichiro first ballot Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Yes, and here's my thing.
If he played his whole career in Major League Baseball, he would be up there with near Pete Rose for hits.
But do you get him in just for
he didn't start in the major leagues at 21. He came at like 25 or 26.
Yeah, you're right. He did come in because he played over in Japan for a while. What about Bonds? Mel said let Bonds in too.
I agree. Bonds was the player of the decade before, when I was going solo before. I said Bonds was the player of the decade in the 90s or the 80s, I think, with the Pirates, and before he even fucking blew up. I mean,
he was
blew
good
up
with the Pirates.
got Herculean.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great player with the Pirates.
Or the 90s. I think the 90s, he was the player of the decade.
Right.
One of the greatest players to ever play the game. And if, you know, people build their all-time fantasy teams, you got to have Bonds in there. You got to put Bonds as your DH or your outfielder.
Here's my take on steroids. Then we move into college football. But
okay,
if I took steroids, I still would never hit like Barry Bonds. You still have to have the skill. Does it give you a competitive advantage? Yeah. But here's my thing. I bring up this thing about Mark McGwire every time. That Androsin, that I might be saying it wrong, but Androsin, whatever it was, that Mark McGwire was taking, GNC sold that over the counter. I remember a guy I was working with was taking it, and he was huge. It's like 5'3" and about as wide as a truck. You know what I'm saying? He was taking it.
Was that amphetamines?
I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of it was like some kind of story acting drug, but I don't think it was steroids.
And I alluded to that earlier.
It was one of those time, what you call it? Because steroids, what makes steroids work is that it's time released into your system. Okay. So, you know, like most pills and stuff are water soluble. So it means like once they get in there and you drink your water, you piss most of it out. With steroids, it goes into your system and just kind of drips into it. So it stays in there longer and you get more of the
long-term results.
Long-term result, more of the power from what you're taking. Okay. So that's what makes steroids its advantage. But like I said, if I took it, I wouldn't be hitting like Barry Bonds. I couldn't run fast, like the fastest player. You still have to have the skill. So to keep him out because of steroids is dumb to me.
The biggest argument against the steroids is not that it gives the skill, but it gives your body the ability to recover quicker and to not have the longer term injuries, because you have it's basically the muscles healing itself, right? Like it's a cheat on healing yourself. Where if you pull something in your shoulder, the steroids will help you heal faster. Where you're missing last time. Like, all right, say Barry Bonds hit 100 home runs.
Right.
Because of that, an additional 100 home runs because he was able to recover and not miss time. He's still well over 600. People who have a problem with it, shut the fuck up. Like, the guy is one of the fucking all-time greats.
Here's my thing. There are some things that baseball or any sport has not banned yet that still gives you that same advantage naturally. So my thing is, just because they discovered that and now they want to ban it, to me, it's just dumb. The whole steroid thing is dumb to me. But anyway,
because it wasn't illegal. It wasn't against the rules of Major League Baseball.
Right.
Morally, ethically, that's a different fucking topic.
That's a whole different argument.
They did not break the rules of the game. Right. When A-Rod got suspended for that Balco shit that leaked his name, it's kind of like the John Gruden thing, right? We have all this information, but we're only going after one.
Right. I agree. What Mel say? I don't.
That's like asking a guy to take a plea after he served some of the time. Oh, I think he's referring to if they said to Pete, "We're going to let you in, but include it as some of your story." I think with Pete Rose, I think Pete wants in so bad, man.
He wants. Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. I think he wants in so bad that he'd take that. I think
it wouldn't be his first choice, but I think he would settle for that if that was baseball's terms.
I heard this story, and then we're gonna move on. But I heard this story, and I might have to paraphrase. I don't remember exactly how it went. But a guy, Pete Rose, I want to say he's in Vegas. He's sitting at a bar or sitting in a restaurant, and and he just looked like a shell of himself. And all he really wanted, and all he kept talking about, was getting to the Hall of Fame. And so, and I mean, it may be some more nuance to that because it's a long time since I heard the story. But my point is, if a man is feeling like that, he'd probably take just about anything to get into the Hall of Fame. So I think he would take that. But college football, 100%. We got some. What'd you say?
100%.
Right. So we got a couple of coaches fired in college football. Dan Mullis out of Florida. We know Orgeron's gonna step down out of USC. I mean LSU. And the USC is vacant. Then Butch Davis from Florida International. Which one do you think? Which one of those coaches you think has the most effect on his team by losing that coach?
It's got to be Ogeron in LSU because he's got the national title, which says a lot when you go into high school kids' living rooms to recruit. I'm on record as saying I believe he wanted to announce that early enough so that USC doesn't jump the gun and hire somebody that they don't want. And I think that you'll see Ogeron tied to USC because USC, they got the boosters, they got the money.
Right.
They want that marquee name. They haven't had a marquee name really out there since Pete Carroll. I know he's Southern and Cajun and is weird as fuck to listen to and would be a sore thumb sticking out in Southern California.
Right.
But I think that's a good fit because USC wants that prestige. They want that, they're one of those teams that they've had some really elite talent.
Right.
But they've done it without the marquee big name. And I think that he would be a great fit for what USC wants to do because now you're selling Southern California. You're playing on ABC every Sunday.
Right.
And now you're doing it with a coach who's won a national title and has that pedigree and has that ability and it can say, I coached Joe Burrow to a national champion. I coached all these other players. We're going to do for you what we did for them. I think it's a no-brainer. I'd be shocked if that doesn't happen.
Let me throw this in there to you.
Shoot.
All right. Is the USC job less prestigious or maybe be even in trouble with the way the Pac-10 is looking and may even be dismantled? With these super conferences building, the Big Ten is looking to try to probably expand. I know they made this little alliance thing, but I don't think that's going to hold up. When you're looking at Oklahoma and Texas going into the SEC, that by itself right there has got these guys scrambling. And I think that eventually the next biggest conference is the Big Ten. And I don't know if I'm part of the Big Ten, I'm looking at, we need to do something to combat that. And I said this before, what's the conference that you rather pick off of? ACC or the Pac-10? Pac-10, you get USC, that gives you West Coast coverage and the prestige in the name.
Yeah.
I mean, Oregon, you got UCLA, more for basketball than football, but you still have them into your conference. So you can pick off those teams. That's helping the Big Ten, and that's putting you in over that Pacific West Coast area. So does that put a stain on? Go ahead.
Based off of something you said, with Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12, does that also make them just the Big 10 now?
Right. Right. And that's another thing too.
I did the math in my head. Right. They're the Big 12. Two teams are leaving. That's the Big 10 South. There you go. Instead of the SEC having their two divisions, you got Big 10 North and Big 10 South.
Right. I'm going to speak to that in a minute, Melvin.
If you're USC, you're big enough of a name, even though they've been down for a bit. You're big enough of a name to maintain no matter what conference you're in.
Okay.
Like this, what is it? The top five, what do they call it?
Oh God, I got Power 5
football sub-series, FBS, the top 5 conferences. Just put the fucking top 5 conferences together and fucking rotate them. Just create the fucking schedule. And if you're good enough to get into this super conference, that's it. I know it's going to be tough to do because the SEC has their television contracts and it's all about money. So the logistics of it are nearly impossible. But that's common sense wise and competitive wise, it would be fucking fantastic for fans. If you're Alabama,
I love it, man.
And you gotta play UCLA, Oregon. You gotta play the West Coast schedule 1 year, them coming to you coming to them.
The way Alabama was playing this year
are fucking impossible because
the way Alabama playing this year, if they did that this year, they'd have lost the game.
Yeah,
they almost came. They almost lost to Arkansas. Arkansas almost came back and beat them.
I I know.
You know, and it's another game I watched this year.
When they fumbled at the 2, when Alabama fumbled at the 2,
right.
I told you guys my son's an Alabama fan.
Right.
And I turned and looked at him. I'm like, oh shit. And then it was like 3 and out. He turns to me and goes, oh shit. But I thought that was like the turning of the tide. No pun intended. Right
there. Before we leave college, let's talk about the playoffs. Who you think is in the playoffs as the picture look right now?
This weekend fell perfectly for somebody that doesn't deserve it, but made back in. Notre Dame. Oregon gets blown out. We're ahead of them. Michigan State gets blown out.
Right.
They were ahead of them. Michigan's going to get blown out by Ohio State this week. That was 5, 6, and 7 right in front of them.
Right.
Now, Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC championship. If Michigan loses to Ohio State by 17 or more, which I think they're going to, they fall. Notre Dame moves up to number 5. SEC championship weekend, Georgia beats Alabama, and Alabama has 2 losses, and Notre Dame hasn't lost since Cincinnati in the beginning of the year. Cincinnati and Notre Dame are both going to get in, and neither one of them is a top 4 team in the country.
And that's the thing, man. I don't think neither of those teams are better than Alabama, a 2-loss Alabama team. I don't think Alabama
about college football.
Yeah, you're right. It's about the money.
Alabama drives ratings. If Alabama loses by more than 13 to Georgia, you don't have an argument to put them in.
Right.
If that game goes down to Georgia kicking a field goal and it's 16-13 as time expires and Georgia wins the SEC championship, Alabama's getting in at 4. I don't give a fuck who gets bumped out. They're not going to take Alabama out of that tournament if they just played with the best team in the country. That'll be their argument to fall back on.
And you got to put Cincinnati in because they're undefeated.
You can't tell me if Cincinnati played Alabama today, Alabama's favored by 16.5 minimum. If Alabama plays Notre Dame today, it's probably the same spread. Like you can't. Sometimes the eye test matters as much as you want to computerize it and have all these fucking numbers. The eye test matters. You can't tell me Alabama's not a top 4 team in the country. As a Georgia fan, I don't want them in the fucking tournament. But as a realistic person who gives his opinion on sports shows, you can't tell me Alabama loses by 20, they're fucking done. There's no argument.
Oh yeah, most def.
So I think it's still to be determined. But what did we say a few weeks ago? Cincinnati. I said stay the course. And by attrition, you're gonna bump up by attrition. I think when they were 7 or 8 when it first came out, and you and Lamar asked, do they have a gripe? And I'm like, no, because everyone else has to play one another. And by attrition, they're going to slide right in. And that's what you say right now.
That's the thing about like the Big Ten. And we're really more of the Big Ten than the SEC because in the SEC, especially of late, you only had like 2 or 3 good teams at the top. You know, Vanderbilt hasn't been in the conversation in a long time. Tennessee haven't been in the conversation in a long time. Florida just recently, last 3-4 years, they've fallen off.
After those Urban Meyer classes.
Right.
You slowly seen Florida.
Right. So you're looking at Bama, Georgia, and then I guess an argument could be made. I mean, I'm trying to think of Ohio
State in there. If you're talking,
I'm talking about SEC first. SEC. Talking about SEC first.
There's other
Bama,
teams
Georgia.
There's nobody else consistently up there with those 2.
Right. So then you go.
LSU will peak. Florida might have one.
Right.
Ole Miss might come up a little bit. But it's Alabama, Georgia, and then hit or miss.
Then the rest.
Notches below.
Right. And then you go to the Big Ten. It's Ohio State on top and everybody else at the bottom.
It's Ohio State clearly on top.
On top.
And you get media darlings like Michigan who plays even with Rutgers.
Right.
And then gets their fucking doors blown off, or not blown off, but fucking
they blew the game
27-3 run to end the game against Michigan State. But I knew everything I needed to know about Michigan that they didn't deserve to be up there when they played even with Rutgers for the 2nd year in a row. And then the next week, Ohio State goes out there and could have put fucking 90 on Rutgers. So, I mean, common opponents matter. I know it's a rivalry week, and I know it's a rivalry game, and I know you're a Michigan guy.
Right.
But I think it's more media love than.
Well, Michigan is playing off of their reputation more than anything else. You know, when they used to be, they used to be the winners for college football team.
Michigan.
They used to be the winners for football team until
Notre Dame.
Alabama took over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, before Alabama took over that, Michigan was the most winningest college football program. So they kind of playing off that rep.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they haven't lived up to that in years.
No. Michigan and Notre Dame are two teams that will continuously be ranked and continuously receive media love because of the history.
Yep.
Right? Like if the Yankees win fucking 70 games next year, they're still going to be darlings to the media because of their history.
Right.
And I think those are teams that are icons of the sport and unrightfully so get extra love for it.
Sincere, if Bama loses the SEC, that's 2 losses.
Yeah, they already lost to A&M.
Yeah, I lost to A&M, so they went. If they lose to Georgia, that's 2 losses. However, as what Nick said, a 2-loss Alabama team, unless something drastic happens, they don't get blown out by Georgia, they'll still get in.
I can't see Oklahoma to answer Sincere's question that just popped up. That was a bad loss, man. I think they fell to 13. Even if they win the Big 12, I can't see them leapfrogging Notre Dame, who has like nothing left.
Right. And I don't think they don't play anybody tough on their schedule.
They have a cupcake left, and I don't think
they play Navy yet.
Is it the ACC championship? No, because they got the ACC schedule now.
Oh yeah. So, before we get off of college football, I want to bring this up. Butch Davis. What has Butch Davis done since Miami?
Get fired a lot. Fail and get fired.
Is he right? So is he really a good coach? Because think about it, when he was in Miami, he had a great team.
Yeah.
I mean, you still got to coach him, but I'm saying that's what Miami is putting 8 or 9 players in the NFL. You know?
Yeah.
You had an excellent team.
Yeah.
You go to Cleveland, you drop a deuce. Go to North Carolina, you drop a deuce. You know, Florida International, you didn't do nothing with them. So really,
not many coaches can win without talent, and some of these coaches get carried by talent because your scheme can be shit, your game plans can be shit,
right?
But talent can save you, right?
But here's North Carolina.
I can be the worst coach in the world, but if I got a receiver who can outrun everybody and I just call fly routes for him and we hit 4 touchdowns in a game, I look like a fucking genius.
Right.
Meanwhile, if you take that talent out, we're losing fucking 36-3. So talent can make mediocre coaches look better than they are.
Right.
But at the same point, some coaches can make mediocre talent look better than they are. I think Butch Davis falls into the category of I need elite talent in order to succeed. And that's why you see him getting canned time and time again.
I agree. All right. Now it's going.
But he's a name though, right? He's got the NFL pedigree. So another school will give him a chance. You hope kids buy into that. I was in the NFL. I can help get you there. He'll get another job.
He'll get another job. Don't get me wrong. He'll get another job. But my thing with Butch Davis is that let's take North Carolina. If you look at North Carolina football program throughout the years, they produce some talented players.
Yeah.
They may not have had the Florida States back in the day and the Miami type talent back in the day, or the Alabama type now, or the Georgia type now, but they produce some good players.
Yeah.
I mean, Lawrence Taylor, one of the greatest linebackers
of all time. Lawrence Taylor and Julius Peppers have come from
came from North Carolina. Right. And so he could have built something there. Let me say that. Because you could have built just off of that alone. He still didn't do nothing with them. I mean, Cleveland was until now, no one's really talking about.
But he was at Cleveland when they were missing on pick after pick, and
I'm saying
poor drafting. That's equal. I can't blame him completely, but they were really bad at drafting when he was there. It was
right.
It was jet level bad.
So now this week of the NFL, man, this has been another crappy week. I mean, I don't know who to pick.
Nobody wants to separate from the pack. Like
it's like yes,
and that's not a play on words with the Packers losing, but nobody wants to separate. And can we just let games be games and let the games sell themselves? Like all week long, what did we hear? America's game of the week. That was the fucking worst fucking game of the weekend to watch.
it
Like
was.
the Chiefs, and I know if Lamar is still watch, I know he's going to chime in. The Chiefs have scored 20 points or less in 3 of the last 4 games. They stop. Like their defense, their fucking Dallas was missing 2 offensive linemen, their top 2 receivers, their top 2 edge rushers. I mean, if Dallas was healthy, Dallas was winning this game 37 to fucking 19. Like, let's not act like the Chiefs all of a sudden played great defense. No, you were missing Cooper, you were missing CeeDee Lamb, you were missing Trayvon
Diggs.
No, not Diggs.
No, he's missing.
Tyron Smith. I got the T names. You're missing your tackle.
What's the name playing too? God, I can't think of. Why can't I think of them? I had this life for the Cowboys so much I can't think of none of their players' names.
You're missing Gregory on the edge.
Gregory, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah,
you were missing the other edge rusher, number 90. Crawford Coleman.
No,
he just got the big contract, number 90.
Yeah,
whatever.
I know you're talking about. Whatever name is. We don't mind.
You're missing 6 marquee players, and you only won 19-9. Like that, I learned more about Kansas City being off in a win than I did about Dallas losing, because Dallas wasn't healthy. Dallas is healthy. That game's over in the third quarter, I think. And I think Dallas wins that game single-handed, like easily. Like I think it switched to the red zone 7.5 minutes left in the third quarter if Dallas is healthy team. That's just the way Kansas City went back. They had one great game against the Raiders, who the wheels have fallen off. You could tell they missed Gruden putting a game plan together because they can't move the fucking ball. They can't fucking score now. They had one game off of emotion, and then it's been shit X's and O's ever since. So on the field, they're missing Gruden. The off the field shit, we're not going to refer to anymore.
Right.
But Gruden was your offensive coordinator. The Chiefs lit the fucking Raiders up, but the Bengals just fucking lit the Raiders up. So you didn't accomplish anything that other mediocre teams aren't doing right now. So I think in a win, Kansas City has more worry than people think. And it's nothing's fixed.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, and you think I like this, for the Chiefs to be touted as a high power offense, only put up 19. That doesn't look good against a defense who's missing some players, some key players on their team. That does not look good for the Chiefs.
No, but, I mean, there's a bunch of turnovers in the game. Both teams, only 3 points scored off of 5 turnovers. Like, the execution, the efficiency are bad right now.
Chiefs might be in trouble, man.
Chiefs might be in trouble. Like, we've been saying it since week 1 or 2. Like, we don't know what's missing. You're missing the it factor. Just something is missing. Maybe Eric Bieniemy is just a fucking shitty play caller, because you've been calling most of the plays. You're being touted as the play caller now. Maybe it's time to give it back to Andy Reid. Like, I don't know.
I hope that's not the case.
Something up like that.
And then if that's the case, then maybe that's what's keeping them back from getting a head coaching job. Maybe other people are seeing that.
Maybe he doesn't interview well. I mean, that's a long topic for another day. But
right.
My belief has been up to this point that Bieniemy has been told, kind of like Josh McDaniels in New England, stay here. You have the offensive coordinator. We'll pay you good money for an offensive coordinator. And then when it's time that they step down, the job will be yours. So maybe he loves it there. His family's rooted there. Maybe he's okay with that. You never hear Bieniemy complain about not getting the head coaching job. So maybe it is his own doing. You know, and I envision one day he has the press conference and said, "This is the only job I wanted. This is the job that I wanted to be. This was my dream job, being here and coming up under Andy." Like, that's what I think we'll see one day. And I think it's fan overreaction and not Bieniemy reaction. Right. But now, I firmly believe he's the head coaching in the wings there.
Having said that, do you think what's going on with Andy's son is going to push Andy out sooner than later?
Yeah, I'm on record as already saying I thought Andy should have called it a career. After that, he's got the health issue now too. He had to go to a hospital after one of the games early in the year. I remember back when he was in Philly, early 2000s, I believe his son OD'd and passed away, if I'm correct. And now this happens, and Kansas City just reached a settlement this week with the family's lawyer to cover healthcare and other medical needs for the young girl throughout the rest of her life. Oh man, you can be as much of a professional as you want in any career, not just football. When you got things like this happening in real life, eventually, it's going to take a toll on you, whether it's stress, fatigue, everything.
Right. Life has a way of humanizing you.
Yeah, it humbles you and it kicks you in the dick.
When people have you up here, life has a way of bringing you down and humanizing you and making you humble.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate when you look at some of these players, coaches, in these professional sports, and their family are the ones that's actually bringing them down.
Yeah.
Now you look at Mahomes and his brother, Andy Reid and his son, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And
like recent topic, Ruggs was self-inflicted. I have no empathy for him and his decision making. Andy Reid, it's been outside of him. You know what I mean? So it's like you have empathy for that situation because you can only do so much. But these people were adults; they make their own decisions, and now put a domino effect that affects you because you love them and their family. And he was a part of the staff too. So you brought him in, and we're gonna give him very good life. You're gonna make good money being caught, and now your fucking lights ruined too. So it's
sad to see. Now I want, because since you brought up Ruggs, the judge agreed to keep him on house arrest after I think he refused to take the breathalyzer, because he has to, since he's on house arrest, he has to keep testing for alcohol. And I want to, if I'm not mistaken, if I read the reports right, either he refused to do it or he didn't take it when he was supposed to take it, and that should have put him behind bars. But the judge
that's basically a violation of the terms.
Right, he violation of terms.
That's like going to the movies. Like that's the same violation of house arrest.
So, but the judge did agree to keep him under house arrest. Here's my thing, and I said it before.
Fucking special treatment, man.
I mean, here's my thing.
That shit ain't happening to you or me if we're in that situation.
No.
That's celebrities getting special treatment, and that's part of the fucking issue in this country.
Yes, but speaking about Ruggs, because you had brought it up, I was torn, and the reason why I say that, I don't disagree with you saying about, because as men, we make decisions, good or bad, we have to live by the consequences of those decisions. That's just how life is, period. At the same time, I remember some of the stupid stuff I've done and just happened to not either got caught or had anything happen bad when I did something stupid. And all it takes is just that one time to ruin your whole entire life. And now, unfortunately, he ruined his life and someone else's.
Yeah. Someone else's. That's the part. If he did it and he crashed into a fucking wall, we feel differently.
Right.
But the no empathy part is your horrific actions led to a loss of life. If you hurt yourself, or Jay Williams, Ben Roethlisberger, guys who were on bikes and hurt themselves are different than taking a life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's what the repercussions of your actions are. I've done a lot of stupid shit myself. To live, we could do a fucking 3-week show.
Right.
But I never put anybody else in the ground, you know, or injured somebody seriously, or medical attention for the rest of their life. And when you're Andy Reid and you're not the one doing it, but you're close enough to those people, that's some stressful fucking shit, man.
It is, man. It is.
Like, we fucked with my mother yesterday and sent a picture of my daughter with a filter that makes it look like your hair is like mine. My sister took video of it. When I called my sister, I was like, yo, we're gonna fuck with mom to take this video. She's got video of my mom, like, I'm never talking to him again. What the fuck is wrong with him? He shaved his boy's head because she wore a Kansas City shirt. Like, it was fucking insane. But the stress of a parent when kids do what she thought was stupid shit, you could see the wear and tear on her emotionally. So that's the point of that little story.
Right.
But as a parent, man, you lose a kid and you have a kid almost kill somebody. I couldn't imagine like putting game plans together when you got that shit weighing on your heart.
It's tough, man, and that could be the reason why Kansas City is not looking the same.
Yeah, like Andy, is this good for this week? Yeah,
that's good. Well, yeah, go ahead, man. It's good.
Yeah, you're going through the motions almost, because your heart may not be in it. We could be completely wrong, and they could just the league could just finish them out. But I think Andy Reid has been a good enough coach and a fantastic quarterback whisperer throughout the years. What he did with Alex Smith, what he did with Vic after Vic got out of prison. He made Vic a fucking elite pocket passer, something that everyone said couldn't be done. With what he did with the Detmers. Yeah, when McNabb would go out, the Detmers would step in. They wouldn't fucking miss a beat. I've called Andy Reid the quarterback whisperer for 25 years. He's that good. Is it the curse of giving somebody $500 million? Is it the curse of, you know what I mean? If you get that contract, do you just not have to drive anymore? I don't know. Like, they're missing the it factor. Like, I always say Derek Jeter is the greatest it factor athlete ever.
Oh yeah.
You can't verbalize it, but you watched them and you knew he had the it factor.
It's like when you see him play, you can't put your finger on what it is.
It's the eye test, right? It's the eye test.
Right. He was like a power hitter.
But he hit home runs.
He
wasn't the greatest fielder, but he made some great fucking plays.
Right.
Like, you could put the negatives as much as you want. But the production
he won a lead in the RBIs, but he brought him. He has some runs batted in, especially when it's time when they need him. So, I mean, he just had it.
All-Star game, World Series MVPs, and world champion in the same year. Only player to ever do it.
So yeah,
there's that thing about him,
right?
And then some people could have all the talent in the world, and then after the league figures out what you like to do, it's even keel for the rest of your career. And Mahomes has the numbers, but they're not getting the wins.
Yes,
and it's like, what's the fucking reason? And it's mind-boggling to sports fans.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about these Tennessee Titans, man.
Oh,
after you see what they did to the Rams, and then they go play who they play after they played the Rams, because they lost that game too, didn't they?
No,
they won that game.
They lost one early in the year, then they lost to the Jets, and they lost to the Texans.
Right.
I forget who that third loss is.
Who was that third? I can't remember. But anyway, you would think the way they played the Rams, the Texans was a cakewalk. How?
I just need to be happy that the Texans and the Jets aren't going to make the fucking playoffs. So they might be able to win the Super Bowl. They can beat good teams, but they can't beat the cellar dwellers.
Right.
That goes on coaching. That goes on your leadership. That goes on your locker room of not looking past it and taking care of the task at hand. So that's some self-reflection that the coaching and the captains and the leaders of that locker room need to do. Right. Because, I mean, the defense wasn't bad. I think Taylor only threw for 107. I know they had. I don't even think they had 200 yards of total offense. But that's just a self-implosion of maybe looking past them because you got the Patriots next week.
Right.
I don't know. That's
man. I was like,
that's the second time that they've done that.
So now you brought it up. I read this, and I think it was on the ESPN app. It says, are the Patriots the best team in the AFC?
Fuck no. Fuck no. And here's why. At this point in time, today, Monday, November 22nd, no. You got 2 wins against the Jets. You got to win against the Texans. You got to win against the Panthers. You got to win against the Falcons. You got to win against Cleveland without Chubb. Right. And then you beat the Chargers when the Chargers had looked awful at that late September, early October point after that hot little couple game start. 4 weeks from now, you got the Titans, the Bills, the Colts, the Bills. You go 3-1, I'll change my tune. I will address it then. But at this point in time, you're doing what, besides from the quarterback position, a veteran elite coach teams should do. You're beating the teams you should beat. You're embarrassing Zach Wilson. You're blowing up Baker Mayfield without Chubb. You're neutralizing Garrett. The team is very well coached. The team is always prepared. I just think that talent-wise, when they play some of the more equally talented teams or more talented, I think they're going to be in trouble.
Now, I will say, I like the way the defense is playing. I like Mac Jones. I mean, like, I was on
Efficient,
record,
right? Efficient.
Yeah,
He's a modern day Trent Dilfer.
Right.
I'm not going to lose the game. I'm going to be efficient. I'm going to get the ball out quick, and I'm not going to be the reason we take an L. We're too good in other areas of the game for me to lose the game, and that's what he is now. What he could
they got the running game going. They got I mean, they got the running game going. That's in NFL. If you can get a good running game, you have a good chance of winning the game.
Yeah. Stevenson and Harris look like a nice 1-2 punch.
Right.
They do enough to take the pressure off of him. But even though he's a rookie, you're seeing his role evolve throughout the season. Listen, everyone knows what I wear. Everyone knows who I hate. I don't hide it. But in order for me to be credible, when I give my views and opinions, I can't let my hatred of somebody interfere. So it's about credibility for me and my words and my views. He's getting better each week.
I just want to say this before you finish. I still won't let go of my hatred for Kirk Cousins, but go ahead.
The legend, Kirk Cousins?
I said,
did you cut out? Did you say the legend, Kirk Cousins?
I said, my hatred.
I thought you said the legend, Kirk Cousins.
No. My hatred for Kirk Cousins.
Well, you had to deal with him in green in college, and now you got to deal with him. You're in division.
I know, man. I was like, I can't get rid of him.
Leave me the fuck alone, Kirk. Fucking names are Kid Kirk. But you look at Mac Jones evolving week to week. If you put on tape of week 1 and you put on tape of this past Thursday, kid's playing well. He's coached well. McDaniels has done very good in his career with Brady, and he knows what his quarterback can and cannot do.
Right.
And you got to give the staff credit. You know, they didn't trade up. Everyone thought they were going to trade up. They stayed home, and they still got Mac Jones, the player that we all said could be Tom Brady-esque. We're not saying accolades. We're just saying in terms of pocket presence, release the ball quick, not overly athletic. Everyone gets in love with all these athletic quarterbacks. But who's the best young quarterback in the league right now? It's Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. And I said, like, when preseason was going on, and shout out to Mel, but Mel was like, he was like crapping on Mac Jones. Well, I don't remember exactly what he's saying. I know Mel like to hold you to exactly what you said. So I know he wasn't speaking highly over Mac Jones. Like I said, but Mel, I look at more than just when I'm watching, I'm not looking at, okay, just the preseason. I'm looking at those intangible things. You know, I'm looking at the poise that he has. He could have threw 5 interceptions, but I'm looking at the poise that he had. I'm looking at his pocket presence. I'm looking at his his footwork, his vision. I said, I see those intangible things in him.
It factor, right? Like you can't put your finger on it, but you just see something in somebody.
And he just holds to that. He has the potential to have a good career in the NFL. Yeah. You know, now who knows what may happen 3-4 years down the line? We don't know. But right now, he has that it factor. Like, okay, I can see him doing something. And like you said, he's well coached, well schemed.
They're well prepared week in and week out.
Well prepared week in and week out.
Yeah. They don't put him in a position to fucking look foolish.
Right. And he's in a good situation out of all the rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, I say second to that maybe Trey Lance. Maybe. Because he has the talent around him.
Yeah. The team's talent in San Francisco is probably better than the Patriots. But
coaching wise,
I think somebody said this today. One of my buddies on another podcast said, you want to hear the most Kyle Shanahan thing you can hear? 13-minute drive, 22 plays, field goal. So you look at the talent of the Niners, and the talent there is probably better than the Patriots, but that Trey Lance still has to get out there and produce before we can. He's the most incomplete, right?
Right.
And I didn't hear Mel's words on the Mac Jones part, but based off my interactions with Mel, I'm willing to bet it's because Cam Newton got cut or wasn't named the starter. That I'm willing to bet that was what got the ball rolling.
Well, now that you brought that up, let's talk about this. Let's just suppose Cam where he's at now with Carolina, Mac Jones where he's at in New England. Which one looks better now? Oh, when you're watching the play,
Mac, because you know Mac Jones is going to be long term, and it's just the beginning.
Okay.
You know, if you're going from this day forward, forget the past because Mac Jones doesn't have a past.
We talking about this day forward.
From this day forward, oh my God, it's 100 times over Mac Jones. You can get 15, 20 years out of Mac Jones the way quarterbacks.
Now what you're saying? Let me say this. What you're saying now to me is that you're looking that Mac Jones has the most potential, but right now, when you're looking at play to play, who you think looks better?
I still think it's
just like Mac Jones.
He went what do you go 22 or 26 the other night?
I think so. Yeah.
Like he's putting up ridiculous numbers, and it's I hate comparing players who are on different teams because the situations are different.
Yeah, right.
The talent is different. The scheme is different. What's asked of you is different. In Carolina, like they're asking Cam to come be a savior and apologize for the organization because maybe we fucked up and let you go.
Right.
In New England, they're like, we're going to build everything around you and you're going to have to do a little bit to help us win. Like, I think they take the pressure off of Mac in New England, but I think the pressure's on Cam. Are we transitioning into yesterday's game with the Panthers?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I saw something yesterday.
And for the record, Nick, you're supposed to let the transition just go in, not bring it.
Okay.
Just go.
Right. I didn't know if you had something else planned.
I'm messing with you. No, I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
I know Melvin Wall's sitting there, man down podcast right now. He's getting his knuckles cracked. He's getting ready to type. I saw it again yesterday. Cam breaks a 24-yard touchdown run. He wants nothing to do with his teammates. He wants to sprint out to the 50. It's a T.O. move, right? Everyone bashed T.O. when T.O. did the star thing because they said it was selfish. Cam runs out to the 50 in Carolina, goes to the sideline, walks right past all of his teammates who want to celebrate a good play, and he's looking at the crowd and he's looking at the cameras. It's a team sport. And whoever you are, in whatever sport you play, unless you're Tiger Woods in golf, because it's just you, when you think you're bigger and better and above the team, it doesn't bode well long term. Like that shit might go for a little bit, but I think long term, it's going to grow old on people, especially if L's start stacking up and you're down 24-7 and you score a touchdown to make it 24-13 with 5 minutes left in the game, and you're doing this at the 50.
Yeah.
That shit's going to wear old real quick on guys who are going to be there long term.
Did you brought this up? I was thinking about this the other day, and it's interesting you said this. I watched some of the things that you're talking about, and my first reaction is kind of what you said. I was like, well, dang, especially when he scored a touchdown, and a couple people put their hands up for the high five. He ran straight to the 50-yard line. I thought about that. Then I started listening to what people around the league was saying, oh, he's such a good guy. He has such a good spirit. So I'm like, well, is that just his personality in a way? Like he doesn't mean any harm by it. It's not him.
I don't
really
think he does. Yeah,
it's not him really being
construed.
Right.
But
it
that's
doesn't make it right.
That's pre-planned. That's premeditated. If I score, I'm running to the 50. T.O. pre-planned it.
But see, I think with T.O. at
that point.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I think what separates him from T.O., I guess, and this goes going by what I hear. I don't know the man personally. T.O. did it for lack of a better word, out of malice. You know what I mean? It seems to me T.O. is just like, it's all about me. I'm T.O. Bump what y'all talking about. I think with Cam, it's out of innocence. For lack of a better word.
I agree. I don't think there is ill intent. I don't think there's ill will or I just think how do I word this? Because I know I'm going to be quoted on it in a text momentarily. I think that the values are maybe not prioritized the right way.
Okay.
Maybe that's from not being in the training camp and going through the grind with this team. Maybe you don't know some of the new players and you haven't bonded with them yet.
Right.
Not that I'm making excuses. I'm just trying to go through the thought process.
Right.
But I don't get how guys block for you. That's how you break a 24-yard run.
True.
And then it's a team accomplishment to score a touchdown. I don't know, man. It looks bad to me as a coach. Like if I saw a player do something on my team and break away and not want to be a part of the team, bro, they block for you. Like I'm the coach that I don't celebrate the running back when the running back scores. I'm the one pointing back at the line and yelling out who made the good block, and I'm celebrating those guys. That's just me. That's who I am.
Well, I mean,
I can't see doing that, man.
That's what speaks for people who understand X and O's of the game. People who are just a casual fan and watch the game, you know, the running back is going to get all the hype because he's the one you see in the end zone. He's the one you see going through the hole. He's the one you see him making a juke move.
The running back getting a wide open hole and running, that's the flash.
Right.
The substance is the blocking.
The trenches, all the trenches, that moving the line, the trap block, all that stuff, you know.
My mantra to the team I coach, first thing we say the first day of August 1st when Pop Warner starts, we don't block, we don't run. We don't block, we don't pass. We don't block, we don't score. We don't block, we don't win. Everything we do starts with the line.
Yep.
I could score a touchdown if the fucking blocking is the right way.
Right. I might be out of breath, but I can score one.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be like a 1 yard, like maybe just fall into the pile type of shit.
Now, let's break down the game a little further.
Tyler Heineke, MVP votes?
Well, we're going to get into that part. I'm still sticking with Carolina right now. Cam threw a nice pass to Christian McCaffrey. I think that was a good pass. You know, we talked about the run.
Yeah.
The end of the game, that 4th and 3 play, that was a horrible play. I
got to lean on you. I didn't see it. I got to lean on you.
Okay. I don't know if it was the play calling or was it just all Cam. So it's 4th and 3. They called a pass play. I assumed it was coverage because I didn't really watch the highlights of it. And it looks like Cam tried to take off and run for the first down, sack him, game over. Now that right there,
that highlight. Okay, I did see that highlight.
Now that right there to me speaks of the weakness of Cam. Because he's thinking run first instead of like.
Did he get hit from behind on the blind side and not know it was coming? Is that the play?
I want to say he got hit from the side because remember he was running, and so I think he was running this way. And I think they came and attack him that way, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember. So my thing was like. It looked like to me, I just saw the highlight of it too, of this particular play. I saw bits and pieces of the game. I saw the highlight of this play. It looks like to me, he thought run first instead of trying to get the first down through a pass, maybe a check. Because if he hit the check down back, he probably could have got the first down. And they coming in at him. That means someone had to be open. So the check down probably is open. And I wish I would have went back and actually really looked at the play because see what happened. So to me, it kind of speaks to maybe the weakness of Cam because any other quarterback maybe could have like stepped up instead of thinking to run because Cam had a couple of good runs. Think, okay, I'm about to recreate this magic and run again, and possibly it did cost him the game.
Yeah, I can't speak to the play itself, but based off of what you told me, my analysis would be this. Maybe familiarity or unfamiliarity with the system because it's so soon and you were injected into the lineup so quick.
Right.
Might not have been a play call you're comfortable with. It might not have been something, because everyone, what do they say every week, every game? The first 15 plays are scripted. Those are the ones you go over. And then the rest might be a play that he may not have too much familiarity with. And the play caller, like I think Rule calls the plays down there, right? It may have been a play that Rule likes or maybe something that Sam had maybe done well, but something that Cam isn't used to, and the progressions and the recognition he wasn't comfortable with. So it sounds almost like it's a downside of injecting a player into the lineup that you haven't had for a long time. Because as much as you can study, you still need those reps. You still need to see it live. You still need to visualize it and do it. So I think it may just be domino effect of that, and it's something that he should be able to grow with. I did check his stats. I mean, he went 21 to 27.
Not bad.
It was less than 10 per average. His average was like, I think 9 something.
Okay.
And I was curious, so I looked at all the games, and the majority of games that were won yesterday, the winning quarterback was averaging more than 10.5 per attempt.
Okay.
A lot of the losing quarterbacks, minus Baltimore, with that game with the Bears, because the kid found out when he got off the bus he was starting, so you didn't expect him to have a great downfield average. But most of the teams were under 10. So you got McCaffrey. You're checking down to him. I think he had 7 catches again yesterday. I mean, but you got Robbie Anderson, 6 catches, 30 yards. Yeah. I mean, he's a fucking deep threat. You brought him there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see the game, so I can't talk.
I saw bits and pieces of it. So, but transitioning to
Washington, man.
Washington transition to Washington.
2 wins in a row.
Heineke looked good, didn't he?
That's why I said it. Heineke gonna start getting some MVP votes. He beats Tom Brady last week. He had all the hype coming in with Cam. It was an emotional, electric environment. And Tyler Heineke steals the show 2 weeks in a row, man. He's efficient. We talked about it last Thursday on the show. I picked Washington. I know they lost Chase Young, but I think they got something with Heineke. I don't know. It's the it factor, right? Last year in the playoffs, I keep saying this. People forget this. Washington with Heineke, who got injected into that lineup last minute, played Tampa closer than any other team did in the entire playoff run.
That's true.
Every other game, Tampa won by more than a score. I think Washington was 6 points, if I'm correct. I think it was 26-20, if I'm right. But you look at them, they got a good young nucleus. They got a talented receiver. You got a quarterback that if you decide to stick with, could have something there. You got a good pass rush. You got Young coming back. You got a bunch of number ones up on that line. So I'm interested in Washington. I'm interested in keeping an eye on their progression.
Let me ask you this question. As we talking about Washington, if you part of the organization, end of the year, say you make the playoffs, but you don't go to the Super Bowl, what do you do with Fitzpatrick and Heineke, and what do you draft first in your first pick?
Well, the first part of that question is the first. I think Fitzpatrick at this point cannot be a part of anybody's long-term plans. That's why he's never been anybody's long-term plans. That's why he's been bounced around. Lovable guy. Top 4 living American, in my opinion. Teaches himself a new language every offseason. Like the guy went to Harvard. He's a fucking genius. He could do anything he wants in the world. You will never find anybody to say a bad word about him as a man or a teammate. But you can't go into the offseason after a hip injury at his age and say he's going to be our guy. I think you decide, is Heineke our guy? Which I don't think there's any shame in going with Heineke. I'm actually happy he's got the chance to play this year. If I'm Washington at this point now, I'm taking Heineke.
Okay. So that first part of the equation is done. So now what do you draft?
I'm taking. You got to figure they're going to draft somewhere between the 9 and 15 range. Even though they won 2 games here, I don't see them running the table or making a playoff push. That's my estimation. Burks from Arkansas, Olave or Wilson from Ohio State. You put them next to McLaurin with Gibson and the other one. His name's Mick somebody.
McLaren or Mick.
No, McLaurin's the running back.
The other guy. Yeah.
Whoever. But you got some nice young pieces. Go get another fucking stud receiver. You got Logan Thomas at tight end, who's a nice weapon. You go get another stud receiver because You got Dallas, who's putting together a good young defense. You gotta be able to beat the teams in your division if you want to make the playoffs.
Right.
I load up on offense if I'm Washington, and I go get another fucking weapon that can really take this team to the next level.
All right, let's go to the other side of the field. You Carolina. What do you do in your quarterback situation in Carolina, and what do you draft first? Because to me, let me ask you that question, and I'll go to the second part. Okay. What do you do in your quarterback situation? Do you keep Cam as your quarterback for next year and get rid of Darnold, or you clean house and go ahead the first part, because I want to go somewhere else with other parts, so I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I think it's way too early for the Cam decision. I believe that's still to be determined. I don't think you can make it definitive either way at this point. It's one starter. I don't think you could say he's our guy. I don't think you could say he's moving on. So I think it's too early to speak on that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just, do they lose a few games? Do they try to go back to Darnold when he's healthy? I don't know. I think there's too many what ifs right now with Carolina. Mm-hmm. Can we revisit that in like 2-3 weeks?
Oh yeah. It's just something interesting to talk about.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So, let me ask you this. Okay, before you go, let me ask you this. So I'm gonna add this part to it. Cam does well the whole rest of the season. Whatever well looks like for you as an organization. I think that Donald's it will be a permanent backup. So if he is, do you just keep him where he's at, and just keep Cam if Cam does well, or do you move him and try to get some money from him?
I forget. I mean, you guys are down there. If man down Mel is still watching. Mm-hmm. Did Carolina pick up the 5th-year option for Sam when they made that trade? Part of me thinks
you may be correct. I'm not 100% sure.
I know I don't know if it was on the show. I don't know if we talked about it or because that was right when I joined you guys, like pre-draft, like shortly after that trade went down. But that's the determining factor. If they didn't pick up that option on Sam and he's a free agent, he's a free agent. You know, he'll go out to Southern Cal and be Herbert's backup or something. You know what I mean? He'll go back there. That's my guess on him. But if they picked up that option and you're paying him $18-20 million, you're stuck with him because you picked up that option. Right. I think Carolina, I really love their defense. They got some nice pieces on every level. Mm-hmm. They had that all defensive draft, I think, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I think you're looking offense, best player available. Okay. Is that another lineman? Is that one of the receivers? They don't have a second-round pick. Their second-round pick comes to the Jets for the Darnold trade.
Right.
I don't know. I can't.
I would think
as of right now today, if I had a bet on it, I would say offensive best player available.
Okay. So let's move to the Green Bay Minnesota game. What's your analysis of that game?
Weird. Like Minnesota just as good as Green Bay. This might be the anomaly game that we talk about because Green Bay's defense has been outstanding. And right away, I think Jefferson had 3 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown in like the first 5 minutes of the game. Right. Don't quote me on the time, but it was quick. This motherfucker was like game over.
I think you knew it was
going to be a long day for the Pack.
Right.
Rodgers ended up with great statistical day, but they started off slow, and then they had to play from behind. Run game really never got a chance to go. Aaron Jones missed this game. Dylan never really got going, so they weren't. And what do we always say? You make a team one-dimensional, you got a very good chance to beat them. And when you get up on them a little bit and they got to play from behind and they're constantly passing the ball, no matter how great you are, it's not going to be your day.
Right.
Complementary football, right? Defense and offense. If one of those are off for half the game, and they were both off for half the game because they were down. It was 16-3, I think I saw
something like
at one point. Yeah. I don't know. Minnesota is that team that we're constantly up and down about. Like we say every week, they compete. They're in it. They miss that it factor, and then some weeks they have it. Yesterday, Cousins came out like a house on fire. They had the it factor yesterday.
Right,
they were
right.
playing out of their fucking minds. And a game that I am very, very interested in is Minnesota, San Francisco next week, because they're both 5-5.
Right.
They're both teams that can make that playoff run or fall off the face of the fucking earth.
Right.
But I'm not going to go off the deep end like some people do. Like when a top team loses, I think the Packers are still an elite team.
Yeah.
I just think Minnesota played out of their fucking minds yesterday and got a rival, which it happens, right?
Right. I mean,
that's why you don't see teams going 6-0 in the division every year all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because you gotta look at it too. When you playing somebody in the division, you see all the time. You used to seeing that team. You know, those, like I always said, until recently, the Lions used to always play the Packers pretty well.
Yeah.
No matter how
they played them well earlier in the year too.
Yeah, they always play the Packers pretty well. So because they used to seeing the Packers, they used to always, they know little things that Aaron Rodgers like to do, that kind of thing. Minnesota, same thing. Chicago. I mean, that team, that division always beat up on each other.
Yeah.
Now, same scenario.
And now it's the third year of the Packers coach. You know his tendencies. You know what he likes. And let's not shit on Aaron Jones missing the game is a big fucking factor.
Oh yeah.
What he does for that offense, running and catching, that's a big piece to lose.
Right. I agree. So now looking at Minnesota, what do you do as an organization to make this team get over that hump? What do you think they need?
I don't know. Like it's
hard to say, isn't it?
You look at them on paper. You got Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the league. You got Justin Jefferson, one of the best young receivers in the league. You got Thielen, who's a fantastic number 2.
Right.
You got Cousins, who, as much as people make shit on him, puts up outstanding numbers. They move the ball well. I don't know. Is it coaching? Is it bad decision? Is it bad play calling at key times in the game? Like, you put up the statistical numbers, but you have the potatoes, but you're missing like key plays. You're missing the meat. You know what I mean?
Right.
You put a plate full of mashed potatoes with butter and gravy on it. I'm happy as fuck.
Right.
But I'm going to be like, yo, where's the steak? And that's what I think of when you see, and you can tell it's Thanksgiving week, everybody.
Right.
You got a plate full of mashed potatoes, stuffing, everything else. But you're like, all right, where's the meat at? What are we doing here? And I think that's Minnesota. Some days you might be in the mood for just apps, but you want the main course. And I just think, I don't know. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it with Minnesota. And it's been like 2-3 years of this.
Right. So now, other side of the field, you Green Bay, you part of the Green Bay organization, you part of the corporate board, and Green Bay doesn't make the playoffs again. Well, it doesn't mean they make the playoffs, but they'll make the Super Bowl again. What do you do with your questions about your quarterback may leaving and one of your top receivers may leave? What do you do as an organization?
Pray. Right. Because you're going to go through a crazy, crazy rebuild if you lose Aaron Rodgers and Devontae, which may happen. You got several teams. Cleveland hasn't committed to Mayfield. Denver has quarterback issues. Pittsburgh's going to be retiring. New York hasn't committed to Daniel Jones long term. Washington doesn't have an answer long term. You have teams that have some pretty good talent and rosters, but are missing the most important piece. So I think there could be some major suitors if Rodgers wants out. And I think teams like Cleveland, who are loaded everywhere with quarterback, would pay whatever the fuck Green Bay wants. You want 4 number ones? We're the Cleveland Browns. Fuck yeah. Take 5. we want to win 1 Super Bowl. That's worth it to us.
Right.
Plus they have a young nucleus too. So you can go 5 years without fucking the number 1.
Especially they come with a package deal. If they come with a package deal. Go ahead. No, I was gonna say I was gonna let you finish. I just want to say, especially if they come with a package deal. If you're Cleveland, you get Devontae and Aaron
in a minute. You
can have 6. You know what I'm saying?
The Rams have done it. The Rams built and drafted a good enough nucleus that they can do the shower at the strip club and just throw number 1 picks away. Right. Because they got the nucleus and they can bring. You tell me all right, 5 number 1 picks. You guarantee me Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams with that line, with Nick Chubb, with that defense, Myles Garrett, bro. 5 number 1 picks would be. I know it's ridiculous. It would never be that. I'm just throwing out a crazy number. I'm just showing that the talent that Cleveland has compared to their desperation to finally give that town the title. I think they would say to Green Bay, whatever you want for Rodgers is yours. You want the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? We'll pack that shit up tomorrow. We'll move it to Green Bay. Whatever you want. You want Kevin Love? Fucking yours. Take it.
Shoot.
But
Cleveland don't want Kevin Love.
If Rodgers wants out, I think Green Bay could get the biggest trade compensation ever. Yes, even at 38 years old. Because I still think he's got 3 years in him.
Oh, yeah. In 3 years, if he don't win the first year, he definitely going to win the second year with that talent and that defense.
You put him in Cleveland, they are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. And you add Devontae, and Landry goes back to being number 2.
Oh, man,
and you got Njoku and Hooper. Njoku would stay. He's not going to leave if Aaron Rodgers comes in. He'll take fucking bare minimum because he knows Rodgers is going to make him an elite tight end. You take a 1-year small deal, and then you cash in the following year when the salary cap blows up.
Right. Look at this, though, Nick. Here's the thing, too. You have Cleveland. They'd be the top of that division for sure.
Absolutely. They'd be the top of football.
Right. Oh, yeah. No doubt. They'd be the top of that division. But I'm just talking about it's in that division. Who's going to play? They'd be better than Baltimore. They'd be better than Cincinnati. They'd be definitely better than Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is going to be at the bottom once Ben retires. I mean, at the bottom now, really. But I'm just saying, once he retires, they're definitely going to be at the bottom. They're top of that division.
Like, if Rodgers goes to either of those teams, he goes to Pittsburgh. You got that defense. You got Najee Harris. You bring in Adams. You let Schuster go. You got those other young wide receivers. They skyrocket.
They skyrocket too. Anywhere you go. But yeah, so now let's talk about the Baltimore game.
I thought the Bears had that, man. That was a nice last drive.
I was like, how do you leave him wide open like that? So I saw because Aikman had kind of did a replay of it when the rusher 21, I forgot who it was, he hesitated because all our blitz, he was spying the running back coming out of the backfield, so he paused a little bit to make sure he wasn't going out on the route. But once he saw he was clear, he still kind of hesitated. He's supposed to go full speed at Dalton, and he didn't. That allowed Dalton to see the receiver wide open. But at the same time, how you get beat on a double move like that, man? This is for the game. If anything else, I'm keeping you in front of me.
Yeah.
I really give us the first down and a touchdown.
That's football 101.
Right.
I don't know if it's a bad play call or if it's just what we see a lot lately in sports. Guys have all the talent in the world, but they don't know the game and game situation.
Cause Nick, look. You in a defensive huddle. We're calling an all-out blitz. So you already know that's leaving people. The safety's gone. So you have no help. You keep the man in front of you.
You also don't call the all-out blitz there too. You don't play for men, but you have enough guys back. So if you get beat on a move, you got help. Right. So it's bad D call, bad execution. It's bad all around.
Right. But then on top of that, I thought the game was over. Now that pass interference call bailed them out because that was a pick.
Yeah.
That was definitely a pick. He threw that ball right to the defender. And that bailed them out. Once they got that call, he just went on the roll.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, they're going to win this game. And I said to myself, they got down the goal line. I said, I will call a running play. And that's what they called.
Yeah.
Because they had plenty of time. I would have ran it probably before then because you had plenty of time. That takes the pressure off your off your quarterback. That keeps the defensive honest. And I would have ran at least twice within that drive to kind of keep you honest, keep you on your toes, not let you know what I'm doing. And that might open up the play action. That's just me.
You're 100% right. Both teams, that looked to me like it was the toilet bowl, where it was two teams. Like if the Jets and the Jaguars played last year in the last week of the season, for the chance to get Trevor Lawrence, I think both organizations would have done everything to try to lose the game. That's what I felt with clicking in and seeing this game yesterday. It's like nobody wanted to win it. Right. It's like they were both losing it. You know what I mean? Obviously, there ended up a winner, but it was just like, who could fuck up last and lose the game? And Chicago's like, all right, it's our turn. We're going to fuck this one up.
Right.
But that's what I get from that game. I mean, you find out your starting quarterback when you get off the bus. Kudos to the kid for balling and getting a victory. His name's escaping my mind right now. But kudos to him. Like nobody expected you to go out and win the game. Like it was just like, all right, get us through this week. We'll get back on track next week. Right. Does Nagy finish the season?
I think he's gonna finish the season though, bro. I just think because you only would have got 6 games left. 7 was it 6? 6 games, right?
It'd be 7.
Is it 7? You got 7 games left. I don't know about
their bye. It's
here's the thing.
7, depending if they had their bye yet.
What purpose would it serve besides just being a gesture of firing him now?
I don't know, but a game like that yesterday can lose the locker room, and it can make shit very disgruntled, and that's usually
okay. You fire him now.
That's usually the main deciding factor of an in-season firing. It's your locker room is so disgruntled and pissed off, and they're voicing their opinion in management that you do it to appease the players so you don't lose them long term, because you know the coach is replaceable. The guys on the contract, you can't replace all of them.
Right.
But a game like that, man, I don't know. That's
man. Did you see the look on Nagy's face when they ball? Well, really, when they got down
he looks
to
like
the goal line,
who knew he's about to get fired.
When they got down to the goal line, he just looked like, oh my god. You know what I'm saying? You can see the look on his face. He's like, oh my god. He just knew he had this game. He knew he had this game. And they said, we got this rookie quarterback. You know, we got this. And then he got down to the goal line.
Fields got knocked out of that game too. And that's when they had a nice little lead when he was there. And then that giant red fucking weird mustache came in.
And I don't know, man. For some reason, I just think he's gonna make it the rest of the season. I don't think they fire him.
Okay,
I could be wrong.
Black Monday, definite Black Monday, or you think to be determined?
To be determined.
Fields could play well and save his ass. And that would be his argument.
Saving grace. That's a saving grace.
He could say it's a rookie quarterback. We're showing improvement. He's played well throughout the year. He's progressed. I think we have something here long term. And then it's up to the front office. Do we want to put a rookie quarterback through a second system in his second season, or do we want to go another year or two and see if there's growth? So I don't think it's definitive he gets fired, but I'm not surprised if he gets fired like before Christmas.
Right. Now, here's the thing too. Nagy can go this route. Look, part of what you said, you know, we got a rookie quarterback. He's doing well, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's the GM. Keep me, get rid of GM.
Yeah. And Montgomery missed a lot of time this year too. So you could say we got, you know, and that kid was a stud the last 6 weeks of last season.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, he was playing well yesterday, considering that I thought he would go off on Baltimore's defense. But
Baltimore defense, their weakness is their secondary.
Well, I think they're 32nd in rushing yards given up. They're like the worst in run. Yeah, because I got Montgomery in the league. And it tells you in your matchup whether it's red against like a top 11 team, or if it's like orange for neutral, or if it's green like for the bottom 10 teams. And I'm pretty sure Baltimore was right at the bottom at the rush defense in the green. So Montgomery was a great play.
Right. But so let me ask you this, big homie. What surprised you about the NFL this week?
Surprised me. I thought the biggest statement in a negative way was how bad the Raiders are and how bad they've fallen, and not being competitive in that game with the Bengals, which was a playoff potential tiebreaker game for wild card. I thought that was a massive the negative statement of the week is holy shit, like you guys really are shit now. I was really impressed by Justin Herbert's performance last night.
Okay.
I was, you know, that's a good defense in Pitt. And I mean, you don't see many teams except for like the Jacksonville playoff juggernaut of Blake Bortles putting up 40 on Pittsburgh's defense. You just don't see it. Herbert's on the brink of stardom. I thought last night on a national stage, you're starting to see the curtain open. I know he's got the most 300-yard passing games for anyone in their first 25 starts.
Right.
You're looking at a kid who him and Burrow and Mac Jones is winning, but these guys are fucking lighting it up. There's a difference, Like, it's the eye test. You see elite quarterback talent, and you see someone who's a game manager. So for second-year guys like Burrow and Herbert, sky's the limit for these guys, man. You just got to keep building around them and give them all the tools they need to succeed. But I think Herbert's performance and the Chargers overall, weathering that storm, not getting down on themselves when they came back. And you saw Mike Williams, who earlier in the year we said as soon as Mike Williams was dinged up a little bit, Chargers flatlined.
Right.
Now you see Mike Williams back, and the Chargers are breathing life again. They look fucking very good yesterday.
Right. For me,
I thought those were two of the big things. What about you?
For me, Buffalo, man.
Yeah.
I just thought this was going to be a bounce back game for Buffalo. And for them to
NFL's hard when you're not playing the Jets, man. you light them up the week before, and you think everything's good.
I mean, it's like, okay, they're running the ball pretty good the week before. You think, okay, they're getting their mojo back. They're looking good. And they just stunk out the place, man. I mean, you go from a 9-6 loss to Jacksonville, then, you win the next game. Then you come back. It's like you went back to the Jacksonville game. And it just really surprised me. I mean, if they'd have lost the game, or a close game, I wouldn't have been as surprised or nothing like that. It's just I didn't see that we're going to make the playoffs or we're the dominant team in this division type play. And that surprised me about Buffalo. Yeah. So let me ask you this. What team or what play or whatever you want to say gave you hope?
That's funny you asked that because I have the Michael K show on in the background. And right now they have who I think is going to be a huge star in the NFL. Jets wide receiver, Elijah Moore.
Okay.
He was injured. He missed some of the training camp. His last 4 games, they have the stats up right now. Last 4 games, 24 catches, 336 yards, 4 touchdowns, averaging 14 a game. Yesterday, he had 8 for 141 and a touchdown. I've said since I saw this kid in rookie camp, he reminds me of Antonio Brown. Size, speed, elusive route running for a young kid. I'm not saying he's going to put up the fantasy numbers that Antonio Brown put up, but something I see and something I always look for, when you're a receiver, when you make your cuts, you got a heavy foot and do you plant hard and then turn, which allows the defense to close on you?
Right.
Or do you keep your same speed in all of your cuts? And he doesn't decelerate at all.
Right.
Which does what? It allows you to play bigger than you are because you get that separation. A play on a sideline that somebody might have to jump up and it's contested. How many times have you seen Antonio Brown backpedaling to the sideline, catching the ball here because his cut was so fucking nasty that he destroyed somebody?
Right.
I don't know if Elijah Moore will have those same stats, but physically, talent-wise, skill, I think this kid is going to be fucking amazing. And he is a first-class human being off the field. A.J. Brown released that video this week that he had some mental health issues, and he credits Elijah Moore for helping him and getting him through it. He's a man of God. He's fucking an amazing person to root for because he's never going to put a black eye on the team or himself.
Right.
And the Jets have been awful drafting in the second round. So like, part of me is giddy, like thinking, holy shit, did we finally fucking end the second round curse?
Right.
I think this kid is going to be a star. I know everyone was big on Jamar Chase, but you look at this 4-game span, and I don't think Chase had a 4-game span with these numbers. 6 catches a game, uh, 84 yards a game and a touchdown each game. He's really, really going to be electric in this league for a long time, and I'm happy he's a Jet.
I want to say, so part of what you say is part that people overlook is how receivers come in and out their breaks.
Most important
that
part
is such a big part of being a receiver. You know, you can make clean breaks that allows you to separate from your defender. It allows you to have a good spot where the quarterback can put the ball at. You know, because you come out your break sloppy because the quarterback's throwing to a spot. You know, when he's going through his progression and he said, okay, I know number 20 is going to be in that spot right there. And it looks like he's going to, separate from that receiver. He's going to throw it to that spot. You come out your break clean, you give him a nice, clean spot to throw it to. First, you come out there sloppy, he's going to try to fit it in there. That gives the defender a chance to break on the ball. Or at least, if they can't intercept it, at least knock it down. That messes up everything. So coming out your breaks is key to being a good receiver. What gives me hope? The Lions defense. You know,
they're in every -1. They're there weekly.
Right. I mean, look how they play. I mean, granted it was Cleveland, but Chubb didn't get off like he normally does.
I don't know the numbers, but I would love to know how many losses.
I don't think he got 100 yards
by one score.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They gotta have 7 or 8.
And as much as I hate Jared Goff, I think they had Jared Goff in this game. They might have won that game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Swift had a nice 57-yard run, which speaks to the line, open up holes for him. But the defense played pretty good, man. But they would have not let Jarvis on that wild card score, they win in this game. So
yeah. Or they tie again, because that would have been a field goal.
Right, or they tie again, right? I mean, I wonder if that's a record. Somebody go with 2 ties.
2 ties.
2 ties, no wins. That might be a record.
We've talked about it several times with the Lions, and I think you're dead on with it. Mm-hmm. They compete week in and week out. They play hard for their coach. The defense has no big names on it, but it's sometimes scheme and execution are more important than big name talent. Unless you guys start rocking the world, you're going to end up with the number 1 pick. There's no clear-cut quarterback this year.
Yes, not me.
You do have Goff. You do have Goff under contract still. Do you keep that number 1 pick? Do you take Evan Neal, the tackle from Alabama, put him with Penny Sewell and have 2 fucking monsters for the next 10 years? Do you go for Thibodeau, the pass rusher?
Oregon.
You can't take, or Hutchinson from Michigan, who a lot of people are starting to compare to the Bosa's and Watt. It's going to be very interesting to see what Detroit does, because I don't see a quarterback rising to number 1.
I don't either.
Which, if the Jets end up at number 2, I'm hoping we make that trade down. I don't want to pay enough for number 1, but I'll jump to number 2. And then we can trade down and maybe get another future 1 and keep stockpiling 1s. But I'm very curious to see what Detroit does.
If I'm Detroit,
if there was a Trevor Lawrence in this draft, or even like a Joe Burrow, if there was a clear-cut guy, you take him. But I don't see that. So now do you just take clear-cut best player, improve the talent of your roster, keep competing until you find that guy, and then when that rookie comes in, he's got a fucking solid team around him. Right. So it's very curious to see what Detroit does going.
I think the way the draft looking, and I can't without me really looking at it right now, I think you deep in defense. The Lions get a couple of picks next year.
You got the Rams pick too, so you got the top of the round, and then you'll have 3 of the top 33 if you end up with the first pick, which is a great chance to improve your roster.
So I go offensive trench player first, because that's what you're gonna need, especially if you're gonna have Jared Goff.
But you might be able to, If you're not going to take Thibodeau, the pass rusher, who's number one on almost everyone's board right now, you could trade down. Maybe somebody wants to come up. Maybe the Jets from number 2 say, we need the pass rusher. We're going to go get Thibodeau. You can get a haul to trade out for a non-quarterback, which would really help you guys long term because you're not one player away, right? You need multiple players. Pieces. So who knows? Maybe this kid, Matt Corral from Ole Miss, quarterbacks always rise. 2 years ago, we didn't even know Joe Burrow was going to be number 1.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he blew up in the playoff and he was the clear-cut number 1. So there's still time for somebody to elevate, which helps you guys because you could sell that fucking pick and get out of Dodge.
Who's the quarterback North Dakota State? Let me see who they got. They turned. But yeah, man, it's a good show, man. Good show. I enjoyed it. You know, shout out to Lamar. See you, I guess next week because Lamar on a long vacation, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure how long he's away. I know we're not doing the midnight show this week.
Right.
Programming note for everybody. Mel and I are going to do Thanksgiving morning. We're going to do 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
So before you get into football, we'll come on. We'll do a pick show. I'll have the kids' picks. Maybe Lamar can text us the standings on the picks. We can read those on Thursday morning. But we will do a show on Thanksgiving morning, and that's it. That'll be us for the week, and then we're back next week.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. It was a great show. Thanks Melvin Ward from Man Down Podcast and Sierra Black On Podcast. Our man Ken, our man Ken from Dirty Hills, and whoever else that showed up. We all thank you, and don't forget, if you're feeling charitable, like Lamar say, drop a little change in the box. We trying to build a media conglomerate over here. Right, or
you can slide the bills, you can make it rain.
Make it rain. You know, we trying to build something.
The card, whatever you gotta do.
We take Cash App.
Shit, you give us your address, we will come to the house and pick it up.
Right. You know, and next year, I haven't told Nick this yet, but next year we're gonna try to do a show up there in Jersey, live show somewhere in Jersey.
Nice.
You know, hopefully COVID won't be acting crazy. We can get out somewhere, and we're gonna try to take
the. Get out up here. You can get out up here.
We're gonna try to take the show on the road because like I said, we're trying to build some sponsorships and get this thing going. But until Thursday at 10 o'clock, y'all, we'll see y'all then. All right, big homie.
Stay safe, everybody.
All right, peace.
We'll talk, brother.